Welcome back to South Africa Tonight on eNCA, and many small businesses in the country are still facing a dire financial situation, all of course as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic and the subsequent lockdown. Most entrepreneurs have not been able to pay rent, and for that reason, some of the landlords in the Mangaung metro area in the Free State have now issued them with eviction notices. The Black Business Chamber in the Free State has written to the Consumer Protector to try and shield them from eviction. Let's get you more on this. We're joined by Thuto Motsamai, Free State Black Business Chamber CEO. Good to see you, Mr. Motsamai, on eNCA tonight. Great to have you on. So let's start then with just a sense of the hardship faced by the businesses that you are speaking for tonight.
Thank you very much for having me, Thembekile. Yes, as you alluded to, there's a big problem in terms of the relationship between the landlords and their tenants in the Free State, and particularly among small businesses. This issue has reached the heights where we approached the Consumer Protector at the Department of Economic Development to try and see how he can assist us in terms of resolving this. The landlords are asking for the tenants to pay all the outstanding rent from the lockdown period until now, and they're refusing to allow them utilities, and some are even threatening to evict them. So that's the situation right now.
And are you getting the help that you've requested from the Consumer Protector and the local government?
Most definitely. The case has actually progressed right now to a stage where last week I was in mediation talks with one of the landlords. And they're actually taking strides to actually also introduce us to banks in order for banks to try and help the SMMEs cover whatever debt they have outstanding.
So before then, you got this help that you asked for from the Consumer Protector and the Free State government. How were these small businesses getting by? Because lockdown was long. It was almost 6 months of many businesses not being able to do any work at all.
The situation was to the point where I would say it was critical, because some of the businesses did close down. As I'm talking to you now, there's a couple of my members who actually are no longer in business. So it was it was a big challenge because some of these SMMEs were not allowed to trade at all. You know, there were certain sectors that were not allowed to trade, and that being that, some of them could not make ends meet. It was a very terrible situation, and especially in the Free State, where you know that economically we have a lot of vices that actually are negative towards what we're trying to do. There's great unemployment. There's great inequality, and as such, we face a lot of situations where we try to get in by doing a couple of small businesses. And when one tries to do a small business and you're hit by a pandemic like the COVID, possibly some of our members will not recover.
And the landlords, I suppose, would argue the same, because they too need to make an income from their property. Are they willing to go along with the interventions that you are now putting forward?
Well, some of them are. Like I said, last week I was sitting in mediation. So some of them are, but some of them are also saying, look, this is a financial burden that they cannot take on their shoulders, you know. So it's either the tenants come up with the money that's due to them, or they would have to take measures because they are sitting with assets that are not generating any income. So it's one of those stages where one actually questions the ownership of infrastructure that can assist small black businesses to grow and develop. You know, most of these small black businesses, if they owned infrastructure where they can actually undertake their business, they wouldn't be faced with this problem. But now they don't own this infrastructure, and now they would have to fend for themselves when something like this hits them.
It's interesting that there is this lack, as you say, of resources and infrastructure, because whenever we listen to the budget, we hear the State of the Nation address, the President, the Finance Minister and government as a whole stress the fact that small and medium enterprises are very much the key drivers of economic growth and job creation. And if these businesses shut down, it'll have a domino effect for communities in and around Mangaung, won't it?
It will, and I think it's critical for us, Thembekile, to articulate that whatever measures that government is coming up with, it's actually a step in the right direction, but more can be done, because I mean, you and I know that in terms of in entrepreneurship and how South African citizens view entrepreneurship, it's a measly 6% of South Africans that are actually trying to get into entrepreneurship. And there's strategic barriers that are out there. Some of them are economic barriers, historic economic barriers coming back from apartheid times. But some of them are the structural economic issues. I mean, when you're a young black person trying to get into business, you don't have a background where you have any sort of seed income that can allow you to do certain things in your business, and you therefore rely on DFIs. So I think, and as the Free State Black Business Chamber, we think that more can be done in terms of looking at the mandate of the development finance institutions to try and see how can they more incorporate small, historically disadvantaged businesses by getting funding, and also trying to change the way that also government procurement looks at small businesses. You know that government likes, when you look at government tenders, for example, it would be very strict on the measure of experience, and how would a startup have this experience to be able to qualify. And this also happens in private sector, where private sector is even more restrictive to accommodate small black businesses.
Lucky Thuto Motsamai, Free State Black Business Chamber CEO, thank you so much for your time tonight.